So that will be better. Is my audibility is better? Okay, easy to see. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Hmm. So now I'll be loading the PowerPoint slides where we are going to see the principles and techniques options in ortho, myo, neuro, manual therapy. Okay, in a broader perspective. So until now we saw the foot and ankle, how we can use these techniques in a combined manner, simultaneous, okay, addition of all the techniques at a single instant of time. Okay, so we'll go to the principles now in the presentation. Okay. Yes. Dr. Bhatt sir, can I continue?
Yes, sir, sure.
Dr. Sunil, can I continue?
Yes, sir, sure.
Okay. So here we have a picture here. You can see David Butler doing the nerve palpation in long sitting. Whenever you are palpating the nerve, okay, at the head of the fibula for common peroneal nerve, make sure that patient should what is called as flex and extend the neck, okay, during the palpation. So if there is pain which is present, it should alter by neck movements, okay. When that pain alters with neck movements, it is the nerve tenderness, okay. And similar way, the position which I was showing now on the subject was this side lying, okay, where you can incorporate an slump test position here, okay. Lower leg is flexed for broader base of support. You can give trigger point releases, okay. You can give muscle energy techniques. You can give joint mobilizations. Remember, be judicially, therapeutic. Like you can involve additional therapist, your assistant, to help you with the technique. It's not a must that single therapist has to apply the technique for everywhere, okay? But you can modify the position so that single therapist can apply. Every technique is possible to be applied by one therapist, okay? And arthro, myo, neuro, manual therapy is a exclusive approach founded by the AOMPT, okay? So we're going to see this history and philosophy, and we're going to see the overview. And there are 6 types of subgroups of patients that is possible. Those who have articular primary, myofascial secondary, and neural tertiary, to neural primary, articular secondary, and myofascial tertiary. Okay, first, second, and third. Okay. So definition: it's a simultaneously integrated, patient-centered application. Okay, don't be tissue-based approach. Patient-centered. Of all 3 manual therapy impairment specific techniques, which are the 3? Articular, myofascial, and neural, as a single standalone technique within a, don't forget this biopsychosocial clinical approach. Okay. So 2014 it was founded, and then the article was there. 2016 we registered it as a separate approach. 3 specific impairment based strategies: articular, myofascial, and neural. So capsulo-ligamentous, and you have what is called as the osteocartilaginous structures, which is included in the articular. Muscles, tendon, and the fascia is included under the myofascial. And the peripheral nerve, the nerve connective tissue layers like epineurium, perineurium, and endoneurium. And also the structures which are next to the nerve, like piriformis for the sciatic, or for tibialis posterior for the tibial nerve, for example. So all these are mechanical interface. Okay, even a tarsal tunnel for the tibial nerve. Okay, everything is a mechanical interface, which is the retinaculum, which is a deep fascia. Okay, tarsal tunnel. So when you examine the joint articular system, you will do a compression distraction, you will do the rolling, gliding, and also the spinning motion, the joint plate techniques to examine that. Myofascial, you will check for the length. Okay, you can check for the strength, isometric or isotonic, and you can also check for what is called as the muscle play. Okay, how much the muscle is able to move in all directions. Okay, which is the myofascial restrictions and adhesions. Okay, you can identify that. Neural techniques, nerve palpation, neurodynamic testing. Loading versus offloading the nerve means loading is elongating the nerve. Offloading is keeping the nerve in the maximum shortened position. So that's the offloading. Okay. Some patients who have constant symptoms of the nerve numbness, you should keep them in offloading positions. The 10 major PRISM principles or assumptions behind the AM&MT, we're going to see now one by one. Body works as an integrated structural and functional unit during any activity. So don't think that only muscles are working, only joints are working, or only nerves are working. Okay, no, all three are working. All mechanical painful dysfunctions from the peripheral pain mechanisms of the body are essentially multi-structural. Okay, so you will never get an injury which is only myofascial. Okay, articular structures include the intra, peri, and extra-articular, all of which are influenced by compression or distraction positions when they are mechanically dysfunctional. Same way, myofascial structures include the muscles, tendon, and fascia, and all of which are influenced by the contraction. Okay, when you are checking them in the inner range, outer range, and also the muscle play. Okay, when you are moving the fascia, when they are mechanically dysfunctional. So they will show abnormalities during these assessments. Neural structures include nerve, neural connective tissue, including the meninges, and also the mechanical interfaces, which are all influenced by sequential movement combinations of multiple joints crossed by the nerve, together with the contractions or with the palpations, okay, in response to the mechanical stimuli when they are mechanically dysfunctional. So structures working together must be evaluated together, and they should be treated simultaneously in a functional position rather than an anatomical position. AM&MT position and techniques are thus utilized in functional positions. Remember, you have two methods to load or offload. So you will keep a provoking position in sports person, for example, who are non-irritable. You are not able to reproduce their symptom at all. Okay, so you can do in a provoking position. But in patients who have constant symptoms already, don't keep them in the provoking position. You will keep them in a relief position in the opposite direction, which is actually a offloaded positions. Okay. Central mechanisms also, there's a solution. You can make the patient to do what is called as imagery, mental imagery, so which will help in reducing the central pain mechanism. Also incorporate maybe a virtual reality gaming or mirror therapy. All this will be helpful. And it can be incorporated together with any therapy, be it electrotherapy, for example. You are giving TENS for the neuropathic pain. Try giving that in a position where the nerve is loaded, okay, or when the nerve is offloaded, okay. In the same way, whenever you are giving a Faraday stimulation, okay, keeping that myofascial release, or you are giving a motor control, remember that muscle activation could be maintained even during the joint mobilization, because what happens is you just mobilize the joint. Afterwards, you give strengthening, but they are not working together. So patient gets a functional activity where both are demanded to work together, and suddenly what will happen? That synchrony won't come. So that's why with contraction, isometric contraction is there, you give the glide. Okay. So what happens is joint position is corrected with the muscle activation. So that's where the simultaneous integration will help. Of course, the biopsychosocial factors related to the patient and also the altered mechanical stress, where multiple dimension they are. Okay, we cannot say which patient, which stress will create what problem. Okay, and then it creates a clinical presentation which indicates the orthomyo-neuromanual therapy, which actually reverses the PRISM effect in order to get what is called as multidimensional outcomes of pain relief, functional improvements, and also enhanced quality of life. Not only immediate, it might help for long-term recovery also, because we are treating all the tissues together, so there is nothing left as a dysfunction. Okay, especially the functional independence, which is the target of any physical rehabilitation. However, AM&MT is in the evolving phase. We do not have much of evidence on the use of this technique. Okay, so beware that the specific indications must be for multistructural dysfunctions, chronic and non-irritable clinical presentations, and it should be a therapeutic progression after either articular techniques or myofascial techniques or neural techniques. And don't miss the last point, that is the manual therapy in sports scenario where athletes are being treated. You should utilize AM and MT, okay? But not for regular sedentary individuals. So evaluation methods and also the subgrouping. Again, it's an overview so that you will all get an idea. And 6 categories. Remember, I was talking to you about the macro trauma and micro trauma. So versus direct and indirect, where typical and atypical, depending upon the age group or associated comorbid conditions. Okay, comorbidities are there. It is called as atypical. Okay, a person with osteoporosis will always develop a bone fracture even by walking. Okay, walking is not supposed to create a fracture, so it's an atypical one. So what we see as typical, I have explained here, and what will be the sequence. These are some of the techniques for articular, including the joint mobilization for different rear foot, mid foot, and the forefoot. Myofascial releases, including the plantar fascia and the gastrocnemius. Neural techniques for the saphenous, sural, tibial, common peroneal, and also including in the slump test position inside line. Okay, so all these are better advocated positions for the use of AM and MT. Okay, so we have come to the completion of the slide. Okay, and we also had what is called as the first is the practical demonstration, and now as per Dr. Butts, now we can open the session for questions so that we'll have